Talk flirty to me.
Hey everybody, welcome to Talk Flirty to Me, episode 1.
The first one?
This is the first episode.
The pilot.
Pilot.
And you're going to be do most of them, and I'm going to be a sometimes guest.
You're like a once a month guest.
Nice.
Yeah. By the way, I'm Katana Collins.
Writer extraordinaire.
Writer of smexy romance novels. And my co-host today is...
Sean Murphy. I am a comic book artist and writer. I work on Batman.
Exciting.
Yeah. I don't usually do podcasts. I try to do only one a year for my own publishing stuff, but this one's different. And I get to talk about things, that I don't normally get to talk about in the nerdy world of comics.
We decided to start this podcast, or I should say...
I was forced into this podcast by my wife.
Yeah, because that's what wives do. We live underneath a flight path, so you're going to hear lots of planes. Hopefully post-production can take those out, but I can't guarantee that because we're new at this.
Don't think it's going to happen.
I know. Maybe we should start recording like late at night.
Or in the basement.
I don't know that the basement's going to be super echoey. Right? No, you're shaking. You gave me a look like you dumbass.
I think it'll be better. Than
But then we have to set all of this shit up in the basement. Anyway, that's a conversation not for the podcast.
Yet here we are.
And yet here we are. So anyway, I decided to start this podcast because I thought it would be really fun. And it was a pretty cool way to merge my theater background with my love of books and writing and romance and lifestyle. And then I dragged Sean in because who better to talk romance and lifestyle than the man I share my romance and lifestyle with?
Thank you. I'm honored. It's good to be here.
Yeah.
So I remember
welcome, sir.
When we did those readings where I would read one of your...
Yes, they're my favorite.
Well, okay, so you'll hand me one of your chapters. I read this paragraph on Facebook or whatever, and I've never read it before, and you pick some salacious, white milky breasted scene and make me read it, and usually I mess up a few words, and I actually stop reading and look at you and be like, seriously, people read this? And
rude. It
tends to get a lot of clicks, so...
It does. People love it when you read my romance novels, which I think is really funny.
So that's kind of what sort of helped lead to this.
Yeah, that was a big part of what, like me reading my romance novels, people were not as excited about.
Boo,
but
we already know you.
Yeah, they're like,
who's your husband?
We know your face, girl. We know your voice. Yeah, you were an
actress. The guy doesn't want to read this at all.
Exactly.
Read it.
It's like when you're at like a show and they're like calling someone up on stage, like they will choose the person who looks the most uncomfortable, and that's what's enjoyable.
When the magician picks me, I'm like, I don't want to go. I don't want to disappear.
Yeah.
I don't want to be cuffed or whatever.
Yep. So here, Sean, read about some cocks and titties.
Can I say those words?
Cocks and titties. Yeah.
Cocks and
I don't know why not.
All right. So you have some kind of a sex list or something you're going to read?
It's not a sex list. I mean, we could do that, but that's like a whole other episode. I mean, this is also, I just want to point out, this is like super weird because we both work from home. We see each other all the time.
Yeah.
And then, like, we sit down and we're like, so, hello, sir, how are you doing? Like,
good,
it's a little awkward.
Since I woke up next to you and bed next to you and took out the trash and did your dishes.
You didn't do my dishes. I did them this morning. It was the one time a month I do the dishes.
You all caught that, right?
Anyway, so this episode, well, I should first go into maybe what the podcast is going to be about going forward.
Nah.
And it's going to be, like, we're going to do things that we write about or that we read about. Oh, I just hit the mic. I hope you didn't hear that. We're going to do things that we write about or read about. And in doing those things, we will then talk about them and see how close we got it with our books. So, for example, one of my characters is a stripper, a pole dancer. So I'm going to take a pole dancing class. And we'll video it. We have a Patreon. So if you become a Patreon supporter, you can actually see these videos. And see the funny craziness that we do. And then the podcast will be all about like what the experience was.
What are you going to wear for your stripper video?
Well, clothes. Like yoga clothes or something. I'm not going to be nude.
I don't know. I feel like these are for Patreons. They pay extra. So, I mean.
Nah. No one wants to see my pancake ass. So anyway, so this episode, our very first episode, I just decided to kind of ease in, dip our toes in, and I pulled together a list of of like relationship and life advice have come from romance novels. So like,
Sorry. The hard C on that really, yeah.
The list was developed from romance novels, and I have to be honest that I did not actually create this list. I just used the interweb.
Right. So let's talk about it.
And,
I've never seen this before, and I'm going to react.
No, you have not seen this.
Right.
Yeah. So number one. Number one lesson. These are really kind of dumb.
I'll make them good. I'll try to save it. Don't worry. Just give me anything. I'll try if I can make it better.
Number one. Everyone changes, especially you. And the little blurb that came with it says, look, life happens. You live, you learn, and you get through things as best you can, and that is what changes you. You know, you aren't the same person you were 5 years ago or even 1 year ago. And romance novels teach us that people can change and your feelings can change and that that's okay.
I don't even know what to do with that. You're right. we all know people change.
Obviously. Although I do feel like there is a lot of people who, when they get divorced or they get separated, or as Gwyneth Paltrow would say, what did she say? Uncoupled?
Oh.
Like mutually uncoupled or something like that.
Mutually uncoupled.
She said something like really like frou-frou. But a lot of times they cite reasons as like, we grew apart.
Uncoupled. That's like what happens between train cars.
Yeah.
When there's an accident.
Yeah. Oh, consciously uncoupled, I think is what they said. Like they I don't know, whatever. It was a weird way of saying it. But
don't worry. Gwyneth Paltrow will not come up in this very often. Yeah, I mean, obviously you changed, and I guess, we're, how many years we've been married? We've been together off and on since 9/11, basically.
Yeah, we met. It was the day after, or the day before.
Day after.
The day after. So 9/12/2001.
Yeah, so easy to remember.
17 years, coming up on 18 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, where was I going with that?
I don't know. We've known each other a while. Been married a while.
And obviously you change. And the goal is to change together, and you start building memories and you have shared experiences and that bond and blah, 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 blah.
But I think that maybe what that is saying is that allowing someone to change is part of that battle. Because if you go into it and you are mad at them when they change, then you will probably fight and you will probably get divorced or uncoupled or whatever. And if you go in with that expectation versus coming in with like, hey, we're both going to grow, we're both going to change, and let's try to grow together.
Well, I do think that it is your partner's job to keep you in line and to keep you from going to crazy town sometimes. I do think that couples are sort of, and I know it's not popular to say it, but I think we are manipulating each other and trying to turn our partners into things that we want. Not in a bad way.
I mean, I guess it's just different. People have different definitions of what those words mean, and manipulating tends to have a very negative connotation.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I think a good example of this is like, I am animal crazy. Like without Sean in my life, and most of my friends know this about me, I would be the crazy woman who had 20 rescue animals living in this house with me.
So by me being here, I'm basically sentencing 20 dogs to prison time at the pound.
Yeah, no, but yes, like I would like lose my I would be the crazy cat lady, or I've joked, and it's only kind of half joking, when I am an old person. Sadly, maybe, hopefully never alone. Hopefully we die together the same minute, but
or you first.
No, that's terrible. No. But if I am ever like old and alone, I am going to have like pet possums, because I'm going to be senile and I'm going to think that they're dogs or something. And I'm just going to be like freaking crazy.
Oh, I'll be glad that I'm dead then. Because I don't want to have to live with you and a bunch of possums. Because I already sleep with you in a bed with 2 dogs on top. And that's already pushing it.
Aw, you love those dogs. But that's the point, though, is I think that if you were still there, I wouldn't be that person.
Right, because I keep you from going to crazy town.
You keep the crazy in check.
That's right. Yeah. It's. I know manipulate's not the right
It's
the
not
best
the right word.
But it is.
It's not the right word.
Come on, we all try to tweak our partners all the time.
See, I think you're choosing such negative words, but I know you well enough that I know what you're saying.
Positive tweaking.
No, that's negative tweaking. Like when you tweak the nipple too hard. Negative tweaking.
There's
what?
That's a bad. Positive nipple tweaking. Can't even make a sentence. Obviously, the
Positive
difference
nipple
between
tweaking exists
the
too.
big difference between me and my wife, as you might have already figured it out, is I tend to be more, I don't know, practical and
Negative.
and just
You say practical,
blunt.
I say negative.
And you tend to be more romantic and warmer
Well, I
and
think
fluffier.
that there
and
are
use your
better
kid
words
gloves.
to use because I know what you're saying, and I don't think manipulate is the right word.
Right now, I'm trying to manipulate you into agreeing with me. I want
And
you to
it's
know that.
not working.
But as far as changing, yes, but we also want to change together, and you want to change with your partner going into the same direction towards a common goal of some kind. If you change completely differently and you go two different ways, then obviously that's not healthy.
Sure, but I also think that there is a mutual respect that happens when you say to a person, like, I get that you want to grow and change, and I'm going to help you. I'm going to fertilize that soil in which you want to grow out of.
I'm going to help you not have a bunch of possums in the house.
Exactly.
I'm going to help you grow and
See?
change into not
Oh my
leaving your
God.
clothes everywhere and
We're
leaving
so in
cabinet
love.
doors open.
You leave the cabinet doors open.
No,
Drives
I'm
me
being equal opportunity here.
bananas. Just like my clothes on the floor drives you bananas.
Oh my God, yeah.
But I've grown a lot because I don't do it nearly as much.
That's because I manipulated you.
You
had
do
enough fights.
manipulate me.
Every time it's a sock on the floor, it's a new fight.
Yeah. So anyway, that was number one.
What's number 2 on the list?
Number 2 is sometimes a relationship doesn't begin perfectly, but that doesn't mean it's not fixable.
Oh yeah, I mean, I broke up with you a whole bunch of
Oh
times.
my God,
before,
so many times.
where I came
So many breakups.
crawling back.
And I never broke up with you.
I like to take the high road and hog the glory.
I don't think that's the high road. I think you're the definition of high road wrong.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the high road.
False.
Did you hit pause? What did you hit? on the
No,
thing?
I was trying to check the
okay.
computer to make sure it's still recording.
Okay, yeah. I think we're good. Yeah, the high road. I meant hog the glory and beat you to it, basically. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. She
Hog
might
the glory,
be
yes.
getting tired of me, so I'm just gonna get tired of her first and break up with her.
I don't actually think that was your reasoning. I feel like you always had like. I remember the first time you broke up with me, you told me, and I don't know if this was true or not, but you told me that you just couldn't picture us together long term, and like that. You didn't say that I wasn't marriage material. Like, you didn't say that. But there's like a definite implication of this, we won't last. Like, we can't last. But you loved me and you respected me, and it was hard to say goodbye. That was like the first time you broke up with me.
Right. Yeah, I can see why I would say that.
Can you?
And, well, in my mind, I mean, the most important things in a partner for me would be, similar goals, trust, someone who's intelligent. And I knew that you had all those things. Like, at the time, I thought I still wanted to have kids. And I thought, this girl's perfect. She'd be a great mom. She'd be loyal, and she's smart and trustworthy. And, it's everything, the whole package and anything you would ever want in a wife. But I'm 22. I don't want to stay in Savannah, Georgia, while she stays here for another 2 years to graduate. I really got to get out of here. Got to get out of the South. And I went to LA, and I just felt like I wish I had met you in my late 20s and not so soon.
Sure.
I thought
no, the first time you broke up with me, you still had like another year of school left.
Oh, so that
Yeah, it was, that does not work.
Maybe that was my second excuse.
Busted. It was because I remember we met in September, as we said. We met after 9/11, and then this was like right before the end of school. It was like a few weeks before finals. So we lasted like the whole school year together.
Right.
And this was the first time we broke up.
Yeah, well, it takes practice to break up.
And you got a lot of practice in.
Why didn't you ever break up with me?
I don't, because I always loved you. You always knew.
Oh, man.
You're my person.
All right, so question 3.
That being said, if we had stayed together back then, I don't know that we would have made it. Yeah. Like, we splitting up, but even like the last time we split up, it made a lot of sense because you were moving to LA and I had to stay in Savannah because I was finishing school. I had like another year and a half or so.
Right.
And long distance just probably would not have worked for us.
Yeah,
And
I was a stallion, man. You can't hold me back. You can't try to put a corral around me.
Oh my God, you guys.
But I feel like you had to date other people to learn
we
how
both
awesome
did.
I was and how silly it was that you didn't try to put a ring on it the first time. And not the other way around.
Right.
I'm
sorry.
That's what you were about to say.
Who came back to who in this scenario? Who was the one who called the other person?
I know. I came back.
Yeah.
I was living in LA and I was tired of dating and tired of. I remember I bought 3 Valentine's Day cards once, and I'm sitting in a CVS.
Was one of those mine?
Yeah. The worst one. The best one. Sorry. And I remember thinking, what the hell is this coming to? Like, I can't keep track of this, and it's just exhausting, and I have work to do, and I'm just gonna make a decision. My dating days are over. I've caught my limit.
Such a player.
And I wrote you and I said, I want to move out of LA. They're gonna coming to New York. Maybe we could try this one last time, like the right way as adults, and see where it takes us.
Oh, that's not exactly what you said.
Pretty
Do you
much.
remember what you said? Because it was way more romantic.
You're gonna
than
claim
that.
it was some kind of love letter?
It was a very long love letter. I still have it. Actually, that should be one of our podcasts. Is I find that letter and I read it on
Oh my God! So I can go back and look at how much of a.
Oh, you're such a sap. You're such a romance guy. I remember very specifically a text message I got before I got like the 4-page back and front love letter from you.
God damn it, front and back.
Oh, it was front and back.
Couldn't even afford another piece of paper.
But I remember a text message that I got from you, and I remember it was really early in the morning. Like you were LA time, and it was early for me. It was like 7 or 8 a.m., so it was like 4 or 5 a.m. for you. Mm-hmm. And you said, "I think someday I'll marry you." Ugh. And that was like, gross. That was all it said.
Gross.
And I later came to find that I think your ex-girlfriend was in bed with you when you texted that.
I was dating a stripper at the time, and I probably had just come off of a long night of something. And
a long night of what?
I'm
Pray
exhausted.
tell.
Like, this isn't who. I don't see this woman being the mother of my children, and she was super nice, but yeah, it was all a bit much. Like, LA is exactly what you think it is. Everybody.
I mean, LA's great. We have friends who moved there and loved it.
Yeah, but it is the land of misfit toys. It is fucked up in all the right ways. But you can't stay too long or it'll destroy you or turn you into a shark.
I mean, there's lots of people who stay in LA and love it, and they're like so jolly and happy. Like,
and
they're like Dan and Elena.
And they wear their sunglasses indoors at night, and they are permanently
Dan
tanned
does not
do
wear
brunch.
sunglasses.
Everything is
inside.
brunch.
God forbid people are happy and positive. Sean Murphy
so
can't
fake.
handle
it's so
it.
Fake.
Can't handle it.
There's this expression that when God created California, what he did is he picked up the United States by the East Coast, like a map, and shook it really hard. And everybody that wasn't strong enough to stand their ground fell into California.
It's pretty fucking harsh.
I know. I wish I had come up with that, because it sounds like something that I would...
It does sound like something you would say. No wonder you glommed onto that. In any case, you were super romantic, and you sent this text message that was like, "Someday I think I'll marry you." And then you sent me the love letter,
right.
And then... Oh, man. It was a long process. I said maybe.
Maybe, not yet. And then you said I still want to date for a while. So, okay, so I continued dating too.
Yeah. yeah.
And you didn't
that's
like
how
that I
that
was
story
dating.
went. No, it wasn't exactly like that.
You didn't like that I was sex dating.
I was younger than you. So you had more years to sow those oats. Like, you had more years as an adult in the working world who was dating. And I had just gotten to New York, and I was pretty new at everything. And so... Oh, Sean.
It's all right. It sounded like a dog this time.
That was Sean's phone, by the way. So I just felt like I needed a little more time to do my thing and to experience life.
Yeah, so I took a little more time to do my thing.
And in my head, I was like, I didn't expect you to wait for me. But I did have a thought of like, if someone comes to you and they say that you're the love of their life and they want to marry you and all this stuff, you don't necessarily assume they're going to jump into bed with someone the next day.
What am I supposed to do? Like, sit in LA with my dick in my hand waiting for you to sow your oats, and then I'm going to move out on your agenda? Is that what you expected?
That's not. I just didn't expect you to jump into bed with 2 different women.
Hey, you can switch it off. It's easier when you're a guy, I guess.
I don't know.
All right, so getting back to...
I don't remember what any of this had to do with. Sometimes a relationship doesn't begin perfectly, but that doesn't mean it's unfixable.
Yep. So fast forward to everything is fine now.
Fast forward, we're happily married. Everything's great. Although I will say when our relationship started, it was pretty good. Like it didn't start immediately bad. Like there are some, and I think this comes from like the romance trope that like you have enemies to lovers is one of the tropes where like a couple like hates each other and then they fall in love after hating each other.
No. But I did get your name wrong a few times when we started dating.
You introduced me as Diana several times. And like not even close to...
I was on the rowing team and one of the girls, the captains, was Diana, who I was also trying to date. I got the names mixed up because I'm bad with names.
You sure did. It gave me comfort to know that you called other girlfriends by my name later.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway.
Totally happened.
So I think that's where that lesson comes from, is that like in romance novels, sometimes you have enemies to lovers and sometimes you have, oh shoot, what do they call it? It's like a fake engagement, like that people enter, like someone needs an inheritance, but to get the inheritance, they have to be married by the time they're 30. So they fake an engagement to get the inheritance. Like that's a big trope in romance.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's maybe where it comes from.
Oh yeah, I forgot we're talking about romance.
Yeah, there's a reason why we're talking about all this.
But not every wife would be as understanding as you, because I can obviously be a blundering idiot and put my foot in my mouth a lot.
You sure are.
You somehow see it as charming sometimes.
I do.
Sometimes not.
We both have a bumbling grace, but also I just don't tend to get super sensitive about things. Like there are other women and other people who would find that stuff probably very hurtful. I just don't. I don't know why. I can't explain why.
If I had called Diana your name, I'm pretty sure she would have been upset.
Yeah, I think luckily, most women would have. But I kind of thought it was funny. But I always
got her name right, so it's okay.
He's going to pay for that one later, guys.
Diana, if you're listening.
Oh, God, that's so awkward if she is listening. Why would she be? Wait, wasn't she in comics?
No, she was...
She was just on the rowing team.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good at least.
Yeah.
The next one is like really self-explanatory, but it says, be best friends.
We don't have that.
You're such a liar.
Next question.
You're such a liar. We are totally besties.
Just by default, because we see each other all the time.
They're such romantic
We're like
words.
two buddies in the same house. Like bosom buddies.
Yeah, but even we stayed friends even when we were broken up. Like we stayed good friends. You would come visit. We always had fun together. We always enjoyed each other's company. Although I will add a caveat to this, which is... What? You don't like that word?
No, I'm just wondering where this is going to go now.
I will add this caveat that, yes, you do need to be best friends, or at the very least, you need to be very good friends with your spouse or your partner. But I also think it's equally important to have other friends and have a team or a tribe of people that are outside of your marriage or your relationship.
I'm really glad you have other friends.
Extremely
glad.
Fucking too. Who else can I go and complain about my asshole husband who calls me Diana?
I haven't called you that for like a week.
At least it's not in the bedroom. Okay. Well, anyway, the next one is treat your relationship like it's the beginning and it will never end. So basically, I think that means have date nights, be romantic. Be sweet.
But you have that honeymoon stage of a relationship where everything is new and exciting.
Yeah.
Do you really think that can last forever?
No, but I think you can make an effort to keep that alive.
Right.
Like you're not going to be the same like magically in love. I mean, you're still in love. You know what I mean? Like that you're never going to get your first kiss together ever again, but you can still you can have date nights, you can have, like just, sweet gestures.
It's also not taking them for granted.
Yeah.
Like, so if you were making an effort to pick a nice restaurant back when you were first dating, you shouldn't just go to Burger King from now on. You need to keep making an effort.
Right.
And keep trying, even if you're not successful, at least you're showing your partner that you're making an effort.
Yeah. And I think most people respect that effort. I guess not everyone does, though. Like, I guess there are some couples where they're still, like, someone will make the effort and then the other person is still, like, nagging them or whatever.
Sounds familiar.
What? Shut up.
Why can't we have 5 dogs?
Oh my god, I don't want any more dogs. I'm
Good.
done.
Yeah.
Gatsby is like the worst.
Yeah, I think 2 is too many, and we have 3.
2 was not too many. 2 was perfect. It's actually really sad. Like I look back on pre-Gatsby and I'm like, oh, it was so like calm and nice with just Simcoe and Bebop.
Yeah.
And then we brought in this little monster.
Yeah, we know
And
the
he's so
dog's
sweet.
downstairs listening to everything. One day he's going to be in therapy
I know.
talking about how his life all went
And
wrong.
be like, my mom was saying that she didn't actually want me. That's Gatsby's voice, guys.
I thought it was Kathleen Turner.
No, this is Kathleen Turner.
No, it's not. This joke will make sense later.
Yeah,
when we hear our
if you join the
Romancing the
Patreon
Stone.
and you listen to the Romancing the Stone movie, what's it called? Movie review? Movie
Yeah,
critique?
commentary.
Commentary. That's what I'm looking for. That's where you'll hear my
Yep.
sexy Kathleen Turner voice. Oh, man.
What about, so what else is there?
So next it says, slow down and enjoy the story. The story of you. That's not what it says. I added that.
Man. What does that mean, the story?
Like your story, like your personal relationship arc. I imagine that's what it means. I feel like I'm doing most of the talking. I feel like you should do more talking.
Well, it's your podcast. I'm
No, but
I'm
like,
Flavor Flav to your Chuck D.
Wow. Anyway.
Well, is that like read it again?
Slow down and enjoy the story.
Is that like saying enjoy the destination? Sorry,
Yeah.
enjoy the journey, not the
enjoy
destination.
the journey, not the destination?
Okay.
I think that's what that means.
Well, that I agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and especially it's one of those things, like, I feel like a lot of people look back on their lives and their relationships and they think of times that maybe were at the time hard and they were really like harsh on themselves, but then they look back and they're like, well, that was still like a part of my narrative. Like I think about our Hell's Kitchen apartment and it was this god awful tiny apartment, maybe 500 square feet. And we had no bedroom because Sean worked from home and he needed our TV room to be his office. So I guess you should say we had no TV room. And
yeah, we had a pull-out bed, and when we pulled it out, it filled up the entire second room.
Yep.
It maybe 400 square. It was so tiny.
Yep. Every morning we'd put that bed back into a couch, and every night we'd pull it into a bed, and and like the kitchen was you couldn't even call it a kitchen. Like 2 people could not be in there at once.
Yeah. But it's awful at the time. But looking back, it is kind of a fond memory.
It was such a
of what we
sweet
went
memory.
through.
Like we were really happy there. Like I mean, not in terms
At
of
the
like
time, we said we need to get out of here. This is crazy. we
yeah,
had 2
like-
dogs also.
Yeah, we had 2
One
dogs.
of which was a 100-pound
Mastiff lab.
Yeah.
And then like a pit bull mix.
3 or 4 story walk up.
No, 5-story walk up.
5-story walk up. Yeah,
5
it's
flights of
sounding
stairs.
less romantic.
I
as we
know.
go into more description.
But there was a piece of me after we moved that I really missed that apartment because it was just such a sweet time for us because like neither of us was making a ton of money and it was a hard time, but it was a good time.
Right. That's when you earn your stripes, so to
Yeah.
speak.
And I think that's what that quote means is like enjoy, maybe find the joy in those moments because it's not about the destination.
Right.
Because the destination in life is death.
Okay. All right. Ending on a positive note.
On that note, the next little tip is called avoid the big miss. And that means the big miscommunication, which is something that happens a lot in romance novels, or maybe any novel. I don't know that that's specific.
What's the big miss?
The big miscommunication. So it's basically when an entire plot hinges on a stupid misunderstanding, which is like really frustrating because, and we've all done it. Like as a writer, I've done it. I'm sure lots of writers have, but it's a frustrating thing for readers because you want to throttle a character when you're just like, all you had to go do was like, hey, dude, I heard this conversation where I thought you were cheating on me. Are you? Or like, you know, and it's like this, no, I was talking to my sister. Like, so in like the tip is like avoid miscommunication, i.e. communicate.
Right. I find that one of the maybe most of our fights start with just miscommunication. And I'm probably that's got to be true for most of us who listening, by the way. But because when I get into an argument with you, I'm very logical and I'm very careful about what I say. Like I'm sort of like
so
recording
logical.
myself, like I'm on record. I'm very careful and unemotive. And what I'll try to do is say, okay, I'm happy to fight. But before we do, let's just give me your statement, exactly what you're after here. And let me tell you what I am saying. And let me just make sure I understand your point before I get upset, or vice versa. And I find that by talking it out that way, by sort of setting up the rules of what you're about to discuss, by addressing the rules and getting each other's point clear, you end up avoiding the argument completely, because you'll find that normally there's a miscommunication. So, for example, I think that you're mad at me because of this. Because, bad example. Doesn't even happen, I know. And it turns out that you're mad, not at the thing I think you're mad at. So I'm getting defensive for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
It's self-explanatory.
But sometimes your logical reasoning is like, just stop. Like, just stop being logical.
You don't need to get mad and like you do, though? Like, what's the
No, I
proper way to
won't
fight?
like you do. Like, no. I mean, there is no proper way to fight. Our therapist actually says we're very good at this in general. Right. We do this very well because we are very communicative.
You think I have an anger issue, so if we're about to fight, you don't want me to just get angry and go for volume.
No,
so
it's better you do get very loud and angry.
I can just talk it out like a robot.
Yeah.
I know it's
I prefer robot
but...
Sean over angry Sean.
In bed too? No, that's not a funny joke.
Gross.
Usually what I'll do when I make a bad joke is I'll then try to work on saving it. So I'm going to try to work on that as we keep talking.
Okay, yeah. You work on saving that one. No, I agree. Like it's better to be logical than angry. But when you are a naturally logical person and then you're with someone who's not necessarily that way, like I am more emotional, and I think that maybe comes from my theater background. I don't know. Maybe I'm making it up.
No,
but like
fine.
it's tough when you have those two different types of personalities. But we know this about each other now. Like we know this, and there's times that you'll say like, "Well, these were the exact words I said," and I will say, "Well." But there is an inference there. It doesn't matter that. Well, I hate when you claim that these are the exact words I said.
It felt like you were saying this. Well, I literally said this.
But we all know that words have different meanings. Like it doesn't.
Right.
But anyway, so that's always that struggle.
Well, so that's another good thing that happens is if I tell you what I said and you said, if you tell me what I just said and you have it wrong and I can repeat it, you go, well, yeah, it's the same thing. And I'll go, well, no, it's not. And here's the truth about what I meant, and this is why you maybe don't need to be upset.
Yeah, and that helps. There are times that helps, and sometimes it doesn't help. Yeah, but it's certainly it's always worth it to try. Like communication is obviously that is key.
Right. The thing is, I enjoy arguing and fighting.
You enjoy debating.
Sorry.
Yeah, like there's a big difference between.
So I'm all
two.
for it. I'm like, ooh, this is exciting. Like I get to use the whole different parts of my brain. I mean, I'm working alone in a room all day. I don't get to use my vocabulary skills that much. So it's like a good challenge to get into it, but it wears you out.
It does.
Like crazy.
I do not find any joy in debating, especially not debating you. Like you're so freaking good at debating too that it's infuriating sometimes. Like
I don't think I'm good. I'll overhear a phone call with one of your friends, and you'll be talking about something I said, and you said like you would say, "Oh, well, Sean made this point," and I kind of agree. I'm like, how nice that you heard my point. Like, when were you going to tell me that?
Never.
Like, I had no idea that anything I said sunk in until I overhear it. Why don't you tell me afterwards, like, you know what, we were fighting, and I was mad at the time, but you were right, and you told me X, Y, Z.
Well, because usually it's not something you think about. Like, you're subconsciously thinking about it after the argument or after the debate.
Right.
And it's not until someone brings it up later that you're like, oh, you know, Sean had a really good point about this that has like slowly but surely saturated my brain.
That's one of the phrases I very rarely hear. Sean, you had a good point about this. I never hear that.
Well, not that exact expression, but I've certainly said in front of you in conversations, usually with other people, like I have quoted back things you've said to me that I have like come to think about and agree with. And
right. But when in the midst of a fight, because I'm not that emotional, if you point out a flaw in something I said, I will quickly go, oh shit, I said that? Okay, you're right. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. Like I'm immediately willing to admit my error.
Yeah, you are. But I think that sometimes for me, it's like what I would wish would happen is you would see the emotional context of what you're not saying. But you tend to stick to the logical where you're like, but those aren't the exact words I said. And like, and it's like, yeah, but you can also recognize that as a society, we have emotional implications that go with certain phrases.
I know, but
so
but this is why we have lawyers to use that
we
lawyer
don't have fucking
language.
lawyers in our relationship.
Not yet.
And this is how we get divorced.
Before you get mad at me.
Divorce from podcast.
It's a pilot. We get divorced.
Oh,
awesome.
man. Oh, that's terrible. Don't worry, guys. That's not going to happen. Don't worry, you 2 listeners out there, because I'm sure there's only a couple. Anyway, so...
is that the whole list?
Oh, no. There's more.
Oh, boy.
So, i.e., yes, of course, communication is good. The next one basically says, like, spice it up in the bedroom.
Yeah.
I mean...
Pornography's pretty good these days.
Yeah. Should we go back to the whole Little Oral Annie conversation about the first porno I ever saw?
Oh, it had to be just that title.
I know,
too.
it's a terrible title.
And because it's kind of
it's a children's movie that
yeah.
it's like riffing on. It's really icky.
Yeah.
And so Annie was the first show I ever did as an actress.
That too.
I know.
And your dad had
so
the tape
weird.
of it.
I know.
Dude, come on.
Oh, I really hope my parents don't listen to this.
Your
It's
dad
so
reads all of your
awkward.
books.
I know. They're like the most supportive parents ever.
He's gonna listen to your pilot episode.
Well, only if I tell them that I'm doing it.
So,
I don't. I might not.
It might not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
So what's next on the list?
Well, so it says spice it up in the bedroom. And I think obviously romance novels are a good place to do that because it's a good place to explore fantasy without actually doing a fantasy and seeing if like something is your cup of tea.
Wasn't there a story that after 50 Shades came out, nylon rope sales went through the roof and nylon companies were scrambling to...
something like that, like
sex
hardware
shops.
stores. Because in the book, he buys his like bondage stuff at a hardware store, like
Right.
zip tie things, and
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think that the BDSM stuff is a really good example of that because I love reading BDSM, but I'm not in the lifestyle. I'm not a submissive. You're not a dominant.
No.
Nope. So it's a good place to like
dominate in
explore.
debates.
Yeah. Ugh,
Does
God,
that count?
you so do.
I use proverbial wrist ties. Oh, man.
Anyway,
All right, so
your
what's the
tongue
next?
is a twist tie.
What's the... I wish. What's the next one?
You wish. So going hand in hand with that, one of the things is basically like demand satisfaction, i.e. take charge of your own sexual needs, in romance.
Your own sexual needs?
Needs.
Oh.
Not needs.
I thought it was like wear knee pads or... like, why sexual needs? Why not knees?
Like Monica Lewinsky.
What?
Anyway.
Did she get a knee rash from Bill?
No, I mean, like, she was giving blowjobs.
Oh,
so, like,
on her
knee
knees.
pads, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
That might be the worst Monica Lewinsky joke ever.
I have a really good one. It's one of my favorite jokes. I mean, it's not really timely anymore, but...
Go ahead. We're all waiting.
Wait, let me remember it. So, Monica Lewinsky... Oh, shoot.
Stop
I
hitting
just
the dresser.
kicked the trunk. So Monica Lewinsky brought one of her dresses to her dry cleaner, and her dry cleaner is a little hard of hearing. And she hands him the dress, and she says, I'd like this cleaned. I need to pick it up by Tuesday at 3 p.m. And he says, come again? And she said, no, it's mustard this time.
It's what this time?
Mustard.
Mustard.
It's my favorite Monica Lewinsky joke ever.
I mean, I think ranch would make more sense than mustard.
I mean, it was the 90s. Did
ranch exist?
I don't know.
Is that where you're going?
Well,
Yes,
like, was it a
ranch
popular
existed.
condiment?
It was pretty
back
popular.
in the 90s?
I mean, not like mustard, apparently. Mustard made the cutoff. Ranch didn't.
Yep.
Anyway.
Anyway is right. So, like, take charge of your sexual needs. In other words, like, especially as a woman, like, multiple orgasms are a thing that happens in romance novels. So,
Right.
like, ask for it, demand it, find a way to please both yourself and your partner.
Speaking of ranch and mustard.
So I can't wait
A friend
for
of
this.
mine was on set. They were shooting a porno somewhat recently, and he was on set because he knew one of the performers. And apparently they use margarita mix for For semen?
Oh.
Yeah, some kind of cheap, clearish, liquid, goopy margarita mix.
Ew.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it would cause infection or where they exactly put it, but that was, So for the female performer, I guess male, any performer who's on the receiving end of one of those,
Yeah.
it's not as awful tasting as the
real thing.
Not that I would know.
Huh.
Yeah.
Margarita mix.
Yeah.
Weird.
Clever.
Yeah, pretty clever.
Be funny when you buy margarita mix, you don't see that on the directions on the back, or sponsorship.
Oh,
That would be interesting.
They should have a sponsorship.
Yeah. Monica Lewinsky's margarita mix.
Oh, gross. Oh man.
Anyway, so what's the next one?
Let's see. Some of these are really stupid, and I'm skipping them. So this one says that romance novels can teach us that the quirky thing that you hate about yourself, i.e. freckles or your curves or red hair, is the very thing that a hero or heroine can find irresistible. I mean, obviously that's true. It's like basically learning to love yourself.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. Is there something about you that you don't like that
Nope,
I
I
like?
love it all. Wait, what? My favorite thing about myself? How long do we have?
No, your least favorite.
It's a short list. Maybe my choice in women.
Oh.
I wish I had a smaller nose.
See, and I like your nose. Like, I think it's very distinguished.
But is there a specific genre of romance where it's like girls into small, large-nosed men?
No, but that's not what this little phrase is about.
Oh.
It's about, I think you're missing the point. It's about like the quality in yourself that you are insecure about is the thing that maybe someone else finds really attractive in you. So like
I feel like I interpreted that correctly, actually.
there's not like a whole trope of big-nosed heroes of like.
There are so many tropes in romance. I can't believe there's
Well,
not
that's true.
big-nosed heroes.
We do have a lot
they
of
have
tropes.
Taken by the pterodactyl.
I don't know. Maybe there are big-nosed.
It's called Snot in
heroes.
Love.
Wow.
Like not in love.
Yeah,
but
no, I get
snot
it.
in
Yeah,
love.
thanks for explaining.
Because nose. Hashtag.
Big nose man. But let's see. I'm trying to think. I mean, I never liked my nose either.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
what nose? I know what you mean, though. We don't have to keep dwelling on it.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you're a curvy woman,
Well, like, do you think that's true? Do you think that phrase is true? That like the thing that you find you are insecure about is the thing that someone else might find irresistible?
I don't know. I don't read romance novels.
Well, but this is in real life. Like, we're applying like romance novel things to real life. So do you think in real life?
Yes.
Okay.
No, real life. What?
Do you think in real life that that's the case? That the thing that you're most insecure about is the thing that the love of your life will find irresistible?
Oh, I'm pretty sure when you describe me to your friends, you don't start with my big nose.
Well, I don't think it's big. I say that you have very chiseled features. Like, I don't see a big nose.
Especially that big chiseled nose. Yeah, I'm not sure. Insecurity is so complicated. And what do you get? What are you looking for when you read? Are you looking for ego enhancement? Are you looking to find reasons not to be self-conscious? So if you don't like your fiery red hair and you buy romance novels that taken by the redhead or whatever.
Taken by the redhead is the title.
I don't know. I'm not a romance namer.
Clearly.
Yeah, but do people
in
who
real
read
life
these...
though, like there are plenty of people who love red hair, and so the thing is, if you are insecure about your red hair and you're like, oh, I've always wanted to color it, I hate it,
right?
And then you meet a person like your spouse or whoever, and they're like, oh my god, I love your red hair.
Oh,
how did this take you so long to understand the point?
I went down a different hole.
You went down a totally different hole. Okay. So the last one, I'm going to wrap it up now.
Okay.
Is it says secrets within a relationship can bring you closer, but secrets outside of a relationship can tear you apart.
Right.
So like basically it's saying between you and your partner, you shouldn't have any secrets. And in romance novels, the secret always comes out, and usually the couple is stronger for it in that moment. But I mean, I think that's pretty true. Like I expect if I tell a friend something and that friend is like married or has a partner, I usually anticipate that partner will also know.
Yeah. I don't agree on if someone tells me something, and if I say, I was talking about your problem with Colleen, if they get mad. Katana. I always feel like, dude, she's my wife. All right, I'll keep your secret, but I don't have any secrets from my wife, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a different story. If someone specifically told me, like, please don't tell Sean.
Yeah, but
I wouldn't. No, even then, like, because there's things that are just very personal. Like, this isn't anything that has happened to one of my friends, but like if someone
Who is it? I want a name.
If someone thought that they had like an STD and they weren't sure and like they were nervous and embarrassed, like I could understand them saying like, just can you not tell Sean? There's no reason for him to know this side of me.
So if you're a friend and you have an STD and you tell Katana, there's a good chance I'm going to find out. So keep it to yourself.
So anyway, that's the list. I think that was the last one.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I feel like a lot of them were self-explanatory. But I think it also gives people a lot of insight into our relationship.
Exactly. And at least they know who the characters are in your podcast. You and me.
You and me. So just to wrap up, I'm going to let everyone kind of know we have a Patreon that we're going to be starting. It's not up yet, but it might be up by the time that this goes live with the first episode. And you can follow Sean and I both on all the social media platforms. I'm at Katana Collins. That's KATANA_COLLINS. And Sean is at Sean Gordon Murphy. Sean_G_Murphy.
Something like that.
Something like that. If you search either of us, we'll come up. So that's all the places where social media is. Instagram, Twitter. Sean is not on Facebook because he boycotts it. But
Boo,
I am
technology.
I am on Facebook. And I guess that's about it. That's episode 1 in the books.
Well, thanks for having me as your first guest.
You're not just a guest, you're a co-host.
Oh, thanks for having me as your first co-host.
And you will be more often than this.
Okay. Thank you for informing me.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys, and have a good week. We'll see you soon.
Talk flirty to